Kyiv will begin talks with Washington to end the war in Ukraine in the next coming days in Switzerland.
G20 summit in South Africa adopts declaration addressing the climate crisis and other global challenges after it was drafted without US input.
Ukraine will begin talks with the US on the 28-point peace plan suggested jointly by Russia and the US in Switzerland in the coming days, according to Ukrainian officials. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Saturday he had appointed a delegation to discuss with Washington the plan to halt the war. Also on Saturday, Zelensky and his wife attended a ceremony in Kyiv to commemorate the Great Famine that Soviet leader Joseph Stalin imposed on Ukraine, which led to millions of deaths in the early 1930s. Meanwhile, Russia launched 104 drones in overnight attacks on Ukraine, as well as one ballistic missile. According to Ukraine's armed forces, 89 of the drones were either shot down or jammed. However, 6 locations were hit by attacks. In Odessa, at least 2 people were injured by the attacks, according to local officials.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky reacted on Friday to his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump's peace plan for his embattled country. U.S. media outlets first reported that the plan gained Trump's approval on Thursday, indicating that it was a 28-point plan, heavily unfavorable to Ukraine. The plan includes terms such as ceding entire areas like the Donbas region and Crimea to Moscow, which Washington will recognize as de facto Russian territories. Other key areas embroiled in fighting like Zaporizhia and Kherson are to be frozen on the contact lines.
Зараз один з найважчих моментів нашої історії. Зараз тиск на Україну один з найважчих. Зараз Україна може опинитися перед дуже складним вибором. Або втрата гідності, або ризик втрати ключового партнера. Або складні 28 пунктів, або вкрай важка зима. Найважча та подальші ризики. Життя без свободи, без гідності, без справедливості. І щоб ми вірили тому, хто напав вже двічі.
Zelensky noted that Kyiv will not make, quote, loud statements and will continue working with U.S. partners to seek constructive solutions. The Ukrainian president also added that he spoke with European leaders who assured him of their continued support.
The G20 summit in South Africa opened on Saturday with leaders adopting a declaration addressing the climate crisis and other global challenges after it was drafted without U.S. input. The declaration, using language to which Washington opposed, can't be renegotiated, a spokesperson for South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa told reporters. Leaders and top government officials from leading and emerging economies came together to try to find some consensus on the priorities in the 2-day summit. But the summit also comes as European leaders try to hash out alternatives to a U.S. plan to halt Russia's war in Ukraine. The 28-point blueprint to end the Kremlin's aggression sparked alarm in Kyiv, with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky saying his country could face a stark choice between standing up for its sovereign rights and preserving U.S. support. While the White House is boycotting the G20 talks, EU leaders say their talks on the proposed peace plan for Ukraine will continue next week with 27 leaders of the bloc in the margins of the EU-AU summit in Luanda.
A pilot of an Indian fighter jet taking part in the Dubai Air Show has been killed after the plane crashed in front of a crowd on Friday, according to the Indian Air Force. The airplane appeared to have lost control and dived directly into the ground. As police vehicles, ambulances and a helicopter rushed to the site of the crash, Emirati officials have yet to provide further details. Friday marked the final day of the week-long air show, which many families had come to attend.